You know, this is one of those questions I get like 20, 30 times a day, and I've answered it really to almost to nauseam, but I have a different approach that I'm going to explain today. And I think what a lot of people don't realize, the last 5, 6 years of my wife's life, she didn't really live with us a whole lot, which I think made it a much more manageable. Plus, I had my own business. I had to take care of our son. Essentially, much of the time, I was an only father. But my wife had a series of operations. She was in the hospital all the time. I mean, she had 3 operations on her ankle, for example, for it was crushed when she was younger. It was a childhood accident. They had to put pins in it and redo it. I mean, that was a big, long process. She had a gastric bypass surgery that didn't go correctly because they couldn't do it because they found out she had a fatty liver, so they did a gastric sleeve. I mean, that was 3 different operations right there. She had both her knees replaced. In fact, she had her second knee replacement surgery 5 months before she died, and she was still on crutches when she went to the rehab facility, her 7th rehab facility. On top of that, she was incarcerated twice for her 4 DUIs. One time for 55 days, another time for 65 days. She was also went to 7 rehabilitation facilities, all 30 days apiece. All of this was going on constantly behind the scenes. I think what a lot of people don't realize is, she wasn't with us a lot of the time. I mean, on top of that, she was under house arrest twice for 90 days. When they let her out for the 65-day incarceration, then she was under house arrest. It was part of the plea agreement. She actually got a whole year, but because of overcrowding, they allowed her to go home because she was not a threat to society, on crutches. Okay, I mean, this was a big part of it. She just wasn't with us a whole lot. So when I talk about a lot of the things going on, the craziness, like the accidents and the DUIs, these went on between the rehab facility stays. So that's how we dealt with it. She wasn't with us all the time. And to some extent, I know a lot of people don't understand all the working parts. I mean, unless you follow me and you get bits and pieces. But she really wasn't with us all that much the last few years. I think it's what made it somewhat manageable. During this period, I was also really trying to create an exit strategy. My priority was really my son at this point, and I wanted to get him through his high school years. And he really was glad that we did that. He didn't really want us to. He didn't want to see his mother, have to move away. I think that would have been tough on him, even though, he would come home and she'd be drunk. I mean, she was still a nice person. There was that element too. I just wanted to get him through his childhood. We dropped him off at college in September of 2019. I mean, she passed away 5 months later. So I think she realized it was also the end of the road. On the next segment, the last part I want to talk about is what, I really had 2 feet out the door near the end. And really, just to bring this all together so it makes sense, when I dropped her off into her 7th rehab facility, I mean, it was explained to her that she was no longer going to live with us at our house with my son and I, that we could no longer deal with it. So when I dropped her off at her 7th rehab, my plan was to, after the 30 days, was then to put her into a sober living facility for at least a year. It's a facility where you can go and live. They check you for alcoholism, spot check you morning, night, and you have to have a job. So in my mind, it was a good bridge to get her into her own life and give her an opportunity to maybe get her life back. Unfortunately, she fell down the flight of stairs the next day and was in UCLA for 28 days in ICU and succumbed to the disease. Unfortunately, it was and it was a very sad, stressful process. But I think knowing that the end was near really contributed, possibly to her falling down the stairs. On top of that, I think she had wet brain, which is a form of dementia, and the fact that she had both her knees replaced. I mean, she was fairly wobbly to begin with. But none of that really mattered because her internal organs were all shot. I mean, every organ, kidneys, pancreas, liver, heart, intestinal tract, and much of her body had just been just rattled with alcohol. And again, I tell these details because what a lot of people don't realize, there are so many working parts to decisions that can't be explained in a 3 to 5 minute TikTok. It's just not able to. So that's why I've written a book about it that's in much more detail. And I know a lot of people are interested in it because it resonates so much. And there's not that much that goes on from the family's perspective. There's always so much focus on the alcoholic. And certainly my perspective is from the family. And again, please like, share, and comment. I go live right around 6 o'clock Monday through Friday, for at least an hour, 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And what would make sense is also to join the Facebook group. It's called There's an Alcoholic in the Family. And again, thanks for listening.